Lucas Gray married Claire Gray, believing love would grow with time. He believed that patience could build warmth, and that effort would one day be noticed. Claire was already the CEO of a growing tech company when they married. Her life moved fast, filled with meetings, calls, and goals that never seemed to end. Lucas knew this about her, and he respected it. He thought being supportive was the right way to love her. Their house was large and quiet. Lucas spent most evenings alone. He cooked dinner even when he knew Claire would not come home in time. Sometimes the food went cold before she arrived. Sometimes she did not arrive at all. When she did, she talked about numbers, plans, and problems from work. Lucas listened, nodded, and asked gentle questions. Claire rarely asked him anything in return. Lucas had once been full of dreams. He liked writing, design, and helping people. After marriage, he put those dreams aside. He managed the home, handled small tasks, and made sure Claire had nothing to worry about outside work. He told himself that love meant sacrifice. Still, some nights, he sat by the window and wondered when his life became so small. Claire did not think she was doing anything wrong. In her mind, Lucas was stable and always there. She believed that love did not need daily care. She believed providing a good life was enough. She missed birthdays and anniversaries without guilt. She forgot promises without meaning to hurt him. Lucas reminded her once or twice, but after seeing her tired face, he stopped. One evening, Lucas waited for Claire to come home for their third wedding anniversary. He set the table and bought a simple cake. He did not expect much, just time. Hours passed. The cake melted. The candles stayed unlit. Claire sent a short message saying she was stuck at work and would be late. Lucas replied with a calm message and cleaned everything away. He went to bed alone that night, feeling something inside him crack. Over time, Lucas spoke less. He smiled less. He became careful with his words, afraid of being a burden. Claire noticed he was quieter but assumed he was fine. She trusted that he would always wait. She trusted that he would never leave. Lucas began going out during the day. He volunteered at a small community center to help with creative projects. It gave him purpose. People thanked him and listened to his ideas. It felt new and real. He did not tell Claire about it, not because he wanted to hide it, but because she never asked.
At home, Claire continued her routine.
She saw Lucas as part of the background of her life, steady and unchanging. She did not see the loneliness in his eyes or the way his hands shook when he felt ignored. She did not hear the silent questions he carried each day. Lucas still loved Claire, but the love had become heavy. Felt like carrying a bag filled with stones. He wondered how long he could keep holding it. He wondered if love should hurt this much. He did not blame her. He blamed himself for expecting more. This was the beginning of change. Not loud, not sudden, but quiet and deep. The kind of change that starts when someone finally realizes they deserve to be seen. Lucas woke up one morning with a strange calm in his chest. Nothing had changed around him, yet something inside him felt different. He no longer felt the urge to wait for Claire's attention. He moved through the house quietly, making breakfast only for himself. When Claire left early for work without noticing him, Lucas did not feel the usual pain. He simply watched the door close and returned to his routine. The community center became his escape. Lucas arrived early and stayed late. He helped organize art supplies, guided children with simple design tasks, and repaired old furniture. The work was honest and clear. People there treated him like he mattered. They thanked him by name. It filled a space in him that had been empty for a long time. That was where he met Madison Lane. She worked as a program coordinator and managed daily activities. She was calm, observant, and direct. She noticed Lucas's skills and trusted his ideas. When she spoke to him, she looked at his face, not her phone. It surprised him. Their conversations were simple. They talked about work, books, and daily life. Madison never pushed. She just listened. One afternoon, Madison asked Lucas why he volunteered so often. Lucas paused before answering. He said he liked being useful. Madison nodded and said that was a good reason. She did not ask more. Lucas felt relieved. For the first time, he did not feel the need to explain his pain. At home, Claire remained distant. She began noticing changes but misunderstood them. Lucas no longer reminded her of important dates. He no longer waited up late. He no longer asked about her day. Claire assumed he was adjusting to her schedule. She told herself it was a sign of maturity. One night, Claire returned home to find Lucas asleep on the couch with a book on his chest. The living room lights were off. The house felt colder than usual. She stood there for a moment, confused by the silence. Lucas did not wake up. She went to bed without touching him. Lucas started dressing better, not for anyone else, but because he felt like himself again. He walked with more confidence, laughed more often at the center. Madison noticed this change. She told him he seemed lighter. Lucas smiled and said he felt that way too. Slowly, the connection between Lucas and Claire weakened. It was not a fight. It was not anger. It was distance. They spoke less and shared nothing deep. They became polite strangers living under the same roof. Lucas stopped, hoping for change. Hope had tired him. One evening, the community center held a small event to thank volunteers. Lucas helped prepare the space. Madison worked beside him. When the event ended, they sat together and talked. Lucas felt something stir in him. Not love yet, but warmth. He realized how long it had been since he felt seen. At the same time, Claire faced pressure at work. Deals failed. Meetings dragged on. She expected Lucas to be her comfort when she returned home, but he was not waiting. He was already asleep or out. The absence unsettled her. She did not understand why.
Out.
Lucas lay awake one night thinking about his life. He realized he had been invisible in his own marriage. That truth did not make him angry. It made him clear. He knew something had to change. He did not know how or when. But he knew he could not return to who he was before. This was not the end of love yet. It was the breaking of silence. The quiet moment when a person stops begging and starts choosing himself. Claire first noticed something was wrong when Lucas stopped needing her. It was not anger or cold words. It was his calm distance. He no longer asked when she would be home. He no longer waited with dinner. When she spoke about work, he listened politely but did not offer comfort. This change unsettled her more than any argument could have. One evening, Claire attended a business gala hosted by a partner company. It was an event she could not avoid. The hall was bright and filled with voices and music. Claire moved through the crowd with practiced ease. She smiled, shook hands, and spoke about future plans. Everything felt normal until she saw Lucas. He stood near the back of the room, wearing a simple, dark suit. He looked relaxed. Beside him stood Madison. They were not touching, yet there was a clear closeness between them. Madison laughed softly at something Lucas said. Lucas smiled in a way Claire had not seen in years. It was open and real. Claire froze. Her chest tightened. She watched them for a long moment. Lucas looked confident. He was present in the moment. He was not checking the time or scanning the room. He looked like someone who belonged. Claire felt a sharp sense of loss, though she did not understand it fully. Someone greeted Claire, pulling her back into the room. She answered automatically, her mind fixed on Lucas. She watched as Madison placed a light hand on his arm, while guiding him through the crowd. It was a simple gesture, but it struck Claire deeply. Lucas had never leaned away from it. Later that night, Claire returned home alone. Lucas was not there. The house felt empty in a way she had never noticed before. She sat on the couch, still wearing her formal clothes, and tried to understand what she felt. It was not anger. No, it was fear. She realized she had always believed Lucas would stay no matter what. When Lucas came home later, Claire was still awake. She asked where he had been. Lucas answered calmly and said he attended the event as a volunteer guest. Claire asked about Madison. Lucas paused, then said she was a friend. His tone was steady. There was no guilt or apology in his voice. That night, Claire could not sleep. Memories surfaced. Missed dinners. Short replies. Moments she chose work over him. She remembered how Lucas once looked at her with hope. She realized she had not seen that look in a long time. The truth settled heavily on her chest. Over the next few days, Claire tried to change. She came home earlier. She asked Lucas about his day. She suggested having dinner together. Lucas accepted politely, but without excitement. He did not reject her. He simply did not lean toward her. Lucas continued his work at the community center. Madison noticed his mood shift. He seemed thoughtful and quiet. She did not ask why. She respected his space. Her calm presence made things easier, not harder. Claire decided she would not lose Lucas without trying. She began waking earlier to prepare breakfast. She waited for him at night. She sent messages during the day, asking how he felt. These actions were new, but they felt awkward, like learning a language too late. Lucas noticed the effort, yet it did not reach his heart the way she hoped. One evening, Claire asked Lucas to sit with her in the living room. She spoke slowly and admitted she had failed him.
Ow.
She said she had taken his love for granted. Her voice shook as she told him she was afraid. Lucas listened quietly. He did not interrupt. When she finished, he thanked her for being honest. His words were kind, but distant. Claire felt the gap between them more clearly than ever. Lucas did not rush to forgive or reject her. He told Claire he needed time. He said he had spent years waiting and hurting in silence. Now he needed space to understand his own feelings. Claire agreed, though the answer hurt. She realized apologies could not erase years of neglect. At the community center, Lucas continued his work. Madison noticed he seemed tired. She offered him tea and sat with him during a break. Lucas shared a small part of his struggle. He did not blame Claire. He simply spoke about feeling unseen for too long. Madison listened without judgment. She told him that his feelings mattered. Those simple words stayed with him. Claire tried harder at home. She canceled meetings. She cooked meals. She asked Lucas about his interests. But Lucas no longer felt the need to explain himself. He answered politely and returned to his thoughts. The house felt heavy with unspoken truths. One night, Claire saw Lucas packing a small bag. Fear rushed through her. She asked if he was leaving. Lucas said he was staying with a friend for a few days to clear his mind. Claire wanted to beg him to stay, but she stopped herself. She realized begging was what Lucas had once done, and she had ignored it. Alone in the house, Claire faced silence. She walked through rooms filled with memories she had overlooked. She sat at the table where Lucas once waited for her. Regret pressed down on her. She understood that love required presence, not just promises. Lucas spent those days thinking. He walked, read, and rested. He thought about who he was before marriage and who he had become. He thought about Madison and the calm she brought into his life. He did not rush to label his feelings. He only knew that he felt lighter when he was away from constant disappointment. When Lucas returned home, Claire asked him if there was still hope. Lucas answered honestly. He said he cared for her, but he was no longer sure love could survive where trust had been worn down. Claire felt tears fall, but she did not argue. She saw the truth in his eyes. This stage was painful for both of them. Claire learned that effort made late could still fall short. Lucas learned that choosing himself did not make him cruel. The balance between them had shifted. The future was uncertain, but one thing was clear. Things could never return to how they were before. Lucas made his choice on a quiet morning. There was no drama and no raised voices. Clarity came to him as he watched sunlight enter the room. He understood that love should not feel like constant waiting. He had waited long enough. He sat with Claire and spoke gently. He told her he was grateful for the years they shared, but he could not continue a life where he felt unseen. He said he needed to move forward, not out of anger, but out of respect for himself. Claire listened in silence. Her face was pale, but she did not interrupt. She knew this moment was earned by her past choices. Claire asked if there was someone else. Lucas answered honestly. He said Madison was part of his present, not as a replacement, but as someone who met him with care and balance. He made it clear that his decision was about healing, not betrayal. Claire closed her eyes and nodded. The truth hurt, but it was clear. The separation was calm. They divided their lives with fairness. Claire focused on her work again, but this time with a new understanding. Success felt empty without connection. She carried regret, but also growth. She learned that love cannot survive when ignored. Lucas moved into a smaller place near the community center. His days felt lighter, continued volunteering, and slowly built a new routine. Madison remained patient. She did not rush him. She allowed the bond between them to grow naturally. One evening, Lucas and Madison walked through a quiet park. There was comfort in the simple gesture. Lucas realized that love did not need to be loud to be real. Claire watched from a distance as Lucas moved on. She did not interfere. She understood now that love is not ownership, it is care and presence. She began to change her approach to life and relationships. The lesson was painful, but necessary. Lucas and Madison built something steady. It was not perfect, but it was honest. Lucas felt seen and valued.